Hello and welcome to this short lesson. We just want to use this short period to explain how to solve the question number 1 in the quiz given to you. The question is this quadratic equation: y equal to 2 plus x minus x squared, where we have that minus 2 is less than or equal to x and x is less than or equal to 3. This is the inequality given to you in the quiz. So how do we use graphical method to solve this quadratic equation? Or how do we draw the graph of this quadratic equation? Now the first thing we do is to get our table of values. For us to get the table of values, we have to look at the inequality to know where the value of x is starting and where it is ending. It is starting with minus 2 and ending with plus 3. Now we are assuming that we are taking only whole numbers. So that's why I have minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. They can tell us that the values of x are odd number, even number, prime number, or anything. But because you were not given the particular type of number that you are going to use, we assume that we are going to use only whole numbers. So that is why we have this. Now for us to get the values of y, we can draw the table and bring out terms, put the values of x in each of the terms and then add up, or we can just substitute the value of x in the equation and then get the values of y individually. That is what I'm going to do. Let me just get the values of y individually. So from this equation, we have that taking x, when x is equal to minus 2, the value of y is going to be 2 plus minus 2 minus bracket minus 2 squared, which is equal to 2 minus 2 squared minus 2 squared is plus 4. So plus 4 plus and minus will give us minus, so we are going to have minus 4. So this is equal to minus 6 plus 2, which gives us minus 4. That is why I have the first value of y as minus 4. Remember that this table was not given to us in the equation. We are just drawing this table from the values of x, which we can deduce from the inequality given to us. I just filled it, I've solved it already, but I'm just showing you how I got the values for the y. What we know is the value of x. We don't know the value of y, but I've solved it already. I'm just showing you how I solved it to get the values of y. So the first value of y, which is minus 4, this is how I got it. Now the second value of y, which is 0, now see how I got it. For the second value, which is when x is equal to minus 2, we have 2 plus bracket minus 1 minus bracket minus 1 squared. This is going to give us 2 minus 1 minus 1 squared is equal to 1 plus 1 plus minus gives us minus, so minus 1. This gives us plus 2 minus 2, which is 0. So that is why we have 0 as the second value of y. Now if we solve for other values of y, we are going to get for the when x is equal to 0, we are going to get y as 2. When x is equal to 1, we are going to get y as 2 again, and when x is equal to 2, we are going to get y as 0, and when x is equal to 3, we are going to get y as minus 4. You may be wondering, how can we get y 2 when x is equal to 0, and also get 2 again when x is equal to 1? Let me just solve that one. When x is equal to 0, y is equal to 2 plus 0, 2 plus 0 minus 0 squared, which is equal to 2 plus 0 minus 0 minus 0. 0 squared is 0. So this gives us 2 plus 0, which is equal to 2. Now when x is equal to 1, when x is equal to 1, our y is equal to 2 plus 1 minus 1 squared, which is equal to 2 plus 1 minus 1 squared is equal to 1, which is equal to 3 minus 1. 3 minus 1 is equal to 2. So when x is equal to 0, y is equal to 2, and when x is equal to 1, y is also equal to 2. When x is equal to 2, if you solve it, you are going to get y as 0. Let me also solve it. When x is equal to 2, y is equal to 2 plus 2 minus 2 squared, which is equal to 2 plus 2. 2 squared is equal to 4 minus 4, which gives us 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. So that is why we have it as 0 when x is equal to 2. Now the final one, when x is equal to 3, our y is equal to 2 plus 3 minus 3 squared, which is equal to 2 plus 3 minus 3 squared is equal to 9. Now, which is equal to 5 minus 9. 5 minus 9 will give us minus 4. That is why we have it as minus 4 when x is equal to 3. So that is how I completed this table of values, getting the values of y. Now the next thing is for us to now draw the graph of this equation using these values of x and y. Now I've drawn it already. What we do is that we are taking 2 cm to represent 1 unit. We are assuming that one line here, one of these tiny lines, is 1 cm. So we count 2 and we write 1 to represent 1 unit. So what we have for x-axis, so we plot the values for the positive y. For the positive y, they are going to be on top of this side. That is, this is for positive y. All the values for y that are positive, they are going to be on this line. Then all the values of x that are positive, they are going to be on this line. All the values of x that are negative, they are going to be on this line. And all the values of y that are negative, they are going to be this side. Okay, so we go back to our table. Let's start with positive y. The positive y, we have the highest there is 2, and we are taking 2 cm to represent 1 unit. So we count the tiny lines, 1, 2, we place 1, then another 1, 2, we place 2. The highest number there is 2. So we can stop there. If we like, we can continue, but this is where our values is going to end. Now we go to negative y. Negative y ends with minus 4. So we go and place the values of negative y. We are still taking the unit of 1 cm to represent 1 unit as a scale. So 1, 2, minus 1 under the y-axis, the negative y. Then 1, 2 represents minus 2. Then 1, 2, minus 3, 1, 2, minus 4. Now, we also do the same thing for the x-axis. The x-axis, the highest positive value is 3, which we place using the same scale as 2 cm is equal to 1 unit. And we do the same thing for the negative side of it, which the highest number there is minus 2. We also use 2 cm to represent 1 unit. Because we have the highest number here as 4, we can extrapolate this one to minus 4. It doesn't mean anything, but the highest value, our value is going to end with minus 2 based on the table. So when we can end it at minus 2 because the negative value ends with minus 2 for x. But if we like, we can put it to 100. But if you are plotting the graph, the highest the graph can take is from minus 2. Now just make it to minus 4 because we have plus 4. For y, I did not take it to positive 4 because the up here cannot contain it. So I leave it at the highest value of y that you have. Now, tracing it, we join minus 2 under x and minus 4 under y. This is minus 2 under x. Then we trace it down, and then minus 4 under y. So on the junction where two of them meet, we mark it as the junction or the points of meeting between the x and y. Then we go back to the table, minus 1 under x and 0. Now this is, you have to be very careful here. When x is equal to minus 1, when y is equal to 0, what it means is that the asterisk or the junction is going to be on the x-axis. So see, y is equal to 0 here. So just take the value of x, place the junction at that particular point where we have the x, because y is equal to 0. Now if it is x that is equal to 0, we come to the value of y where the x is equal to 0 and mark it. Assuming that we have x is equal to 0 and y is equal to 1 or minus 1, then where we are going to mark it is here. We are going to mark it at minus 1y. But because it is y that is 0 here and x is minus 1, then we just take it to the place where we have the minus x and then mark it at the junction. Now, we do the same thing, joining other ones in the table. We join 0 and 2, 1 and 2, 2 and 0, 3 and minus 4. If we join 0 and 2, that is when x is equal to 0, y is equal to 2. Okay. X is equal to 0. I say that when x is equal to 0, the junction is going to be on the line of x, on the line of y. But when y is equal to 0, the junction is going to be on the line of x. In the first one we solved, when y is equal to 0, x is equal to minus 1. So we just take it on the line of x and place it at the point where we have minus 1, and that is this. Now, in this second one here, we have x is equal to 0. So we are going to take it to the line of y and put the junction at the place where we have y equal to 2. So that is this. Here, x is equal to 0, and then we take the value to where we have y is equal to 2. That is this junction. Now we do the same thing for when x is equal to 1, y is equal to 2. Y is equal to 2. That is when x is equal to, when x is equal to 1, y is equal to 2. Here, where is 1x? When x is equal to 1, in the table, x equal to 1 and y is equal to 2, x is 1 here, see line x, and then we take it to where y is equal to 2. We join it. Then we do the same thing for x is equal to 2. It will go to y is equal to 0. Y is equal to 0 when x is equal to 2. That means that we are going to place it at the level of x because y is equal to 0. At the line of x is where we are going to put the junction. That is why we have it here. Then the last one is when x is equal to 3, y is equal to minus 4. So we are going down when x is equal to 3, y is equal to minus 4. So from 3 here, we trace it down to minus 4x. So that is how I was able to draw this graph. We now join all the points together. Everywhere I marked asterisks, we join them together. We can use a compass to make it sharper, but I just use a free hand to sketch the graph, making sure that all the points are connected. So from this graph now I've drawn, I can trace the root of this equation. The root of this equation is it touches minus 1 and then plus 2 at the x-axis. I said that the root of the equation is where the curve touches the x-axis. Normally, it will touch the x-axis in 2 places because quadratic equation always have 2 values. So here it touches it at minus 1 and then plus 2. Okay, now we can confirm. That means that the root of this equation from this graph is minus 1 and plus 2. Now we can confirm whether this is true or not. We can factorize the equation given to us. We can factorize this equation to check whether it will give us minus 1 and plus 2 as the roots, or we can use quadratic formula to find the roots. Now let us factorize it and see what happens. I've done that. 2 plus y minus x, this is equal to 0. Now that is x squared minus x minus 2 is equal to 0. I just transformed this. Since we want to begin the equation with x, what we do is that we can take this whole equation to this side and bring 0 to the other side, so that this minus x squared, if it's coming to this side, it will become plus. Now this x, if it's coming to this side, it will become minus. So every sign for the terms will change when they are crossing the equality sign. So we are now going to have x squared minus x minus 2. Now this is equal to 0. Now having it like this, we can factorize. What are the factors? Two things that when we multiply them, they are going to give us minus 2, and when we add them, they are going to give us minus 2, minus x, that is minus 1. If we times them, it will give us minus 2, and when we add two of them, it's going to give us minus 1. Now let's say the factors of 2 are 2 and 1. 2 and 1. Now we have minus 2. You must take into consideration the signs of these values. Minus 2 means if you have minus 2 times plus 1, it will give us minus 2. Now minus 2 plus 1 will give us minus 1. Okay, so we can now have the values as minus 2 and 1. That is now minus 2x and x, 1x, which is x, positive. Now we put the values, we use that thing to replace the x here. Now we have x squared minus 2x plus x minus 2 is equal to, this is equal to now 0. This is equal to 0. And now we have that we bracket it. We just factorize to have x squared minus 2x plus x minus x. Now we factorize out common values from each of the brackets. So from here we have x into x minus 2 plus the common thing between x and minus 1 is 1. It is 1 that can divide x and divide minus 2. So we have 1 bracket x minus 2. And so we collect the ones outside the bracket and take one of the brackets since the two brackets are the same thing. So we have x plus 1, then x minus 2. So everything is equal to 0. And now we have x plus 1. It is either that x plus 1 is equal to 0 or x minus 2 is equal to 0. Now if we solve that, that means that if x stands alone here, then it means that x is equal to minus 1 or x is equal to plus 2. So that confirms what we have in the graph. X is equal to minus 1 or plus 2. So our graph is in order. We solved it correctly. So that is how to solve a quadratic equation using a graphical method. First of all, you must get your table correctly. Once you miss your table of value, you have started failing the whole thing. And then you must learn where to put your points or where to get the junction of x and y. Once you are done with this thing and you do everything correctly, you are going to get your true roots for the quadratic equation. That is how to solve it. Thank you.